Good evening. An Australian soldier has been killed by Russian forces while fighting for Ukraine. His parents from Lismore have made a dangerous dash to the war zone to bury their son.
Before quitting the Australian military, Sam Pedrazzini trained Ukrainian soldiers, then fell in love with the country himself.
In a place they call the House of Sorrows, another wartime funeral, not for their own, but an Australian, Samuel Michael Pedrazzini, just 26, from Lismore. His parents, Leonie and Tim, braving the high-risk journey deep into a war zone to be there for their only son. Pedrazzini was a soldier with the Australian Army deployed to England to train Ukrainian soldiers, but decided to join them instead. He wanted to fight for Ukraine, his commander told local media, to defend its freedom and independence. His broken-hearted mother presented with the flags of Ukraine and Australia that had covered his coffin. "I'm completely lost and will try to continue as you would have us do," she said, through a translator adding she'll still talk with him every day.
Please keep running beside me.
Pedrazzini joined the Australian Army in 2020, 7 RAR Adelaide. In 2023, Australia launched Operation Kudu, combat training Ukrainian soldiers in England. Pedrazzini was an instructor, but in 2025 moved to war-torn Ukraine and was embraced. He was simply outstanding, good machine gunner, marksman, medic. Promoted to Special Forces in May, killed just 1 month later in frontline Donetsk. Samuel Pedrazzini's death takes the number of Australians killed fighting in Ukraine to at least 13. His family approving his burial there, telling local officials it's what he would have wanted. Telling a friend, "This is my country now." Laid to rest alongside local fallen soldiers, the cemetery hailed as the Heroes' Alley. Chris Reason, 7 News.
A Gold Coast man has been jailed after leaving his stepfather to die, then keeping his body inside the bedroom of their house for 14 months. Let's go to Katrina Blowers at the Supreme Court. Katrina, the judge described this case as disturbing and shocking.
Yes, Sarah, 51-year-old Nicola Gollum had initially been charged with murder, but today pleaded guilty to manslaughter and 1 count of interfering with a corpse. The court hearing today that in 2022, his 69-year-old stepfather, Tomislav Nemes, had been chronically ill, but after becoming a Jehovah's Witness, didn't want to be treated with Western medicine. His stepson, Nicola, became his carer, but when Mr Nemes fell into a coma, he lied to his mother and Mr Nemesh's daughters that he was obtaining medical treatment, but instead left him to die. He then left his body in the bedroom of their waterfront Benoa home and continued to lie to the rest of the family for the next 14 months, putting the air conditioning on in the room where the body lay, even stuffing towels underneath the door to contain the smell. In April 2023, one of the daughters came to the home demanding to see her father, and then she called police, who found her father's body in a mummified state. The judge today sentenced him to 9 years jail, but taking into account a range of factors, including a traumatic brain injury, ensured that he would be granted parole from the end of next month. Max?
Katrina Blowers there. An ambulance dispatcher has taken a 000 call about a deadly car crash involving her own sister. Charlie Rose Vincent is one of 170 people who've died on Queensland roads this year. That's 27 more than the same time last year. It comes years after a QPS restructure which saw the Road Policing Command weakened.
A 000 call taker, Katie Paskins, answers strangers on the worst days of their lives. Never did she imagine the next shattered family would be her own.
She was my best friend. I didn't want to believe it.
Her sister, Charlie Rose Vincent, was killed in a head-on crash near Rockhampton last weekend. It was Katie who took that emergency call.
And I didn't even know it was her until I left work that day.
Just like someone put their hand in my chest and just ripped my heart out.
Charlie is one of 19 Queenslanders killed in just 3 weeks.
Why isn't this the one strapped in?
In the same city, a father was caught driving with his young daughter unsecured in the back seat.
Rotate tongue around the inside of your mouth 3 times.
Testing positive to meth. In Virginia,
102 in a 60 zone.
A 25-year-old man pinged for treating Sandgate Road like a racetrack.
There is a penalty of $1,919, 8 demerit points, and a 6-month loss of licence.
Near Townsville, police clocked this man 40 kilometres an hour over.
Well, I don't want to come pick you off the road.
Experts say fewer visible police patrols have made some drivers more willing to take risks, believing they won't be caught.
The hours police spend on road safety, from breath tests to speed checks, collapsed after COVID. They're finally climbing again, more than 500,000 logged last year.
You're seeing these hours increase because we're putting a greater emphasis and will continue to do so.
We're heading into numbers that haven't been seen for probably over 20 years.
Behind those statistics are families living with the consequences. Michael Hammond, 7 News.
Telstra has confessed the problem which led to last week's nationwide network meltdown could have easily been prevented. Fielding a barrage of questions in a Senate inquiry today, the telco's bosses admit it went unchecked for years.
Telstra bosses answer to Parliament over the outage that put the nation on hold.
Millions of people have gone without mobile coverage and mass chaos across the country.
The chief executive apologising again.
We fell short of what people rightly expect from us.
Revealing this giant exchange in Melbourne was where the trouble started. Maintenance on a timing server was completed, but when it came back online, a GPS card didn't operate as expected.
The server restarted with the wrong date.
The error spread like a bushfire across Telstra's network early last Wednesday, affecting 45% of calls and data services at its peak, blocking businesses from trading.
How many people do you reckon you had to turn away?
I think around 100.
604 000 calls unable to connect, the travel of thousands upended.
I was not impressed.
People who were spending a lot of money staying overnight, hotels.
Stuck here because of this.
Stuck here, late getting home.
Telstra was forced to admit some home truths. This could have all been prevented if it didn't ignore software update warnings from January this year, 2022, and as far back as 2020.
How does it go 6 years without fixing?
The server's hardware was 15 years old and cheap to replace.
How much are these servers worth? Jared, one of these servers?
It's about $30,000.
About $30,000.
Departing Canberra with a bumpy road ahead.
Telstra says it's paid out more than $100,000 in compensation. 8,000 customers have made claims, and the telco expects that bill to rise. Chief Financial Officer Michael Ackland says it's still early days with large claims yet to be processed. Affected customers can still apply on Telstra's website, and the communications watchdog has also told the inquiry it isn't ruling out multi-million-dollar fines. Max?
Josh Martin there. He walked free on a suspended sentence, but a Brisbane bus driver has launched an appeal over a crash that killed teenager Tia Cameron. Lindsay Francis Selby was found guilty on driving without due care and attention after crashing into a city building 2 years ago. Tia's family says they've been forced to relive the worst day of their lives again, something no parent should have to endure more than once. A judge says he'll make a decision a priority.
The images we see so often, young thieves smashing their way into family-run businesses, and it's taking a toll in Logan. Mel Whiteman is at Regent's Park tonight. Mel, a supermarket owner there is heartbroken.
Yes, Sarah, wanting to pack up and quit. The owner of the food works at Regent's Park was woken up by security just before 4 o'clock this morning when a group broke through a roller door and forced their way into his store. They jumped the counter and used a crowbar to try to break their way into cigarette cabinets. When that didn't work, they tried keys before stealing about $1,000 cash. The owner says repairing the damage will cost him much more than that. He's been here more than 20 years. This break-in leaving him emotional and lost for words. How does this make you feel?
I just feel sometimes just feel want to quit.
Police say the group left in a red ute believed to be stolen.
Thanks, Mel. Well, business owners forced out of Centenary Pool say their calls for compensation have been ignored, despite claims that negotiations are underway. Tonight, we can show you some of the work being done to prepare Victoria Park for 2032.
With 63,000 stadium seats to go, an excavator and workers focus their attention on a section of land at Victoria Park. Some are sifting through the dirt by hand around machinery. And with all that open space, there's still room to fine-tune the golf swing.
A lot of studies have happened, a lot of testing, soil testing.
The government says it's appointed a family-owned company from Queensland, BMD, to start heavy earthworks next month. However, nearby business owners at the Centenary Pool complex are facing eviction in 6 weeks.
There's been absolutely zero correspondence. There's been no talk of compensation.
We're not against the Olympics or the Olympic build, but we do want fair compensation in order to move.
Physiotherapist Tom Barton is in a race against time. He will soon travel to America with the Australian swim team for the Pan Pacific Championships and tour SoFi Stadium, the host venue for the swimming at the LA Games in 2028.
Part of those negotiations at the moment with Brisbane City Council.
Echoing the Premier's comments yesterday.
There's been some negotiation between the council, the state and those individuals, and that'll continue in good faith.
Literally the only information we have is what we've seen in the media.
The Deputy Premier has confirmed compensation was paid out to business owners at Victoria Park, but the dollar figure is under lock and key.
We are completely flying blind.
Marlena Wapp, 7 News.
Parents of teenage girls killed by methanol poisoning in Laos are devastated. No one will be criminally charged. Bianca Jones and Holly Morton-Bowles were among 6 tourists who died after drinking the tainted alcohol in 2024.
The value that they put on life over there, the fact that they're clearly hiding something with their so-called investigation.
Authorities in Laos concluded there wasn't enough evidence, instead fining those responsible $1,600. The Australian government has expressed its outrage to the Lao government. US President Donald Trump has tried to make a live address to the American people, but the country's biggest TV networks have refused to broadcast it. In it, he blamed a Chinese conspiracy for rigging his 2020 election loss without a scrap of reliable evidence.
A major primetime address being sold as big news for the American people.
I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence.
Written off by many political experts as a big bunch of baseless claims. The intelligence released, a trove of largely redacted papers published by the White House. Donald Trump claims they show a data breach in the country's voting system by China.
To hacking, exploitation and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you. The American people, our beautiful, our great American people.
They date back to 2020 when Trump was beaten by Joe Biden, still claiming the win was stolen from him with no evidence to back that up. After a long history of peddling false election claims, major news networks here weren't taking the chance of allowing the president to spread more misinformation, making the unprecedented decision not to broadcast his address.
I heard nothing new. I heard no concrete evidence or even allegations that foreign actors actually changed the results of American elections.
I asked my Republican colleagues, why are you complaining about election fraud? We won all the damn elections.
But more elections are on the way, congressional polls where Democrats may make gains. Amid chilling images like this, a massive billboard installed in Tehran, Donald Trump lying in a coffin, and this vision of a 6th night of US airstrikes on Iran, a war that is only intensifying by the hour. In the United States, Hannah Ford, 7 News.
Australia's most high-tech advanced military helicopter has fired its first shots on home soil. The Apache launched Hellfire missiles above Townsville, the fleet's new home.
Hovering over Townsville skies, armed and ready
for this moment. Shots 5 years in the making.
It's all culminating in this one moment.
On a 2-week covert training mission, testing, now unveiling the country's most advanced chopper yet to the world. The Apache fleet, built in the US, tried and tested in conflicts overseas, this in Iran. Boasting a longer range packed with weapons.
We'll be using the Hellfires, the rockets and the 30mm ammunitions.
Capable of firing at targets not reached before.
We can't prepare for war without doing live fire activities like this one.
Announced in 2021, 6 arrived in Townsville last year, flown last month, fired now.
Oh, they love it.
There really is something special about bringing this home and showing Australia what the aircraft is capable of.
They'll replace the ageing Tiger fleet, fraught with problems. They'll be retired soon.
The weapon systems and the sensors on the Apache and the data connectivity far outclass it.
In a deal worth more than $300 million, 2 more are coming
before the end of the year.
29 in total by 2029. They'll sit alongside Chinooks on Australia's new look aerial frontier. Home, North Queensland. Declan Milton, 7 News.